Hello, my friends. I'm so happy to see you. Thank you so much for joining my channel. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Anna and I do travel related content. I do fun vlogs from the most interesting places I visit, tips and tricks videos, hotels, activities, ideas and reviews, and also just reflection videos that would hopefully allow you to get to know me better on a personal level and maybe become YouTube friends. If that is the type of stuff you're interested in, be sure to hit that subscribe button right now and make sure that you comment on this video so that I could start getting to know you a little bit better as well. Today's video is going to be dedicated to a beautiful country where I'm currently in. Unfortunately, I'm leaving in just a few hours, and this country is El Salvador. To be honest, El Salvador has been on my bucket list for a while, but due to a known situation related to gang violence, of course, I could not make this trip happen. But now is the beginning of 2026, and I finally can say that I can cross off El Salvador off my bucket list. First, how to get to El Salvador. With this country gaining more and more interest from tourists from all over the world, currently there are flights coming here directly from the major US cities such as Houston, Atlanta, Chicago, New York, and many others. So coming here is very easy. You hop on a plane and 4.5 hours later you are enjoying this paradise. Also, I do not know much about getting here from Europe, but I did meet a lot of tourists from Europe, from Italy, France, England, Germany. So I'm sure there are plenty of ways to come here from Europe as well. How to get around in Salvador when you get here. So, as you might know, El Salvador is the smallest country in Central America, which makes it perfect to explore because you do not need to take long flights between different parts of the country. You can just hop on a bus, an Uber, or you can just rent a car and explore the whole country in a relatively short amount of time. Personally, for me, I mostly relied on Ubers, which are inexpensive and widely available here pretty much everywhere. But if you're on a budget, you can also rely on public transportation system, which consists of chicken buses. Those buses can take you from pretty much anywhere to anywhere, and it will cost you not more than $2. As an example, coming from San Salvador to El Tunco, I decided to get an Uber just because I was very tired from my day trip and I just didn't want to deal with my heavy backpack, and I paid around $36. But you can easily hop on a chicken bus and spend just $1.50 and get to the same location where I got using an Uber. So definitely chicken buses are very popular, and I met a lot of tourists who were solely relying on chicken buses and were able to explore so many parts of the country. Currency in El Salvador. Technically, there are three major or national currencies in El Salvador: El Salvadorian soles, US dollars, and yes, you guessed it right, it's Bitcoin. El Salvador became the first country that adopted Bitcoin as legal tender. And while it's not very much widely used, you can certainly use Bitcoin in many areas, especially in El Tunco, where I'm currently at. El Salvadorian soles, you can forget about those. Theoretically, they exist, but nobody has been using them for over 20 years. So US dollar is your way to go. It's very easy for the American travelers because they do not have to worry about currency conversion, figuring out the conversion rates. You just take US dollars and you're ready to explore El Salvador. Prices in El Salvador. Since El Salvador is not yet a super touristy country, the prices will surprise you in a very pleasant way. As an example, this hotel with this beautiful view where I'm staying in El Tunco area cost me only about $100 per night with breakfast included. Have you seen prices like this anywhere else in the world? I have not. So in terms of transportation, as I already mentioned, there are chicken buses that are very cheap, 50 cents to $1.50. You can get to different parts of different towns and different areas of the country, but also Ubers are inexpensive as well. The only more of an expensive Uber trip that you might take if you are going, for example, from Tunco to San Salvador, or vice versa. For example, for me, it cost me, as I mentioned, 36 bucks. It can cost anywhere between $25 and $35. And also, another more inexpensive side trip was for me from the airport to the city of San Salvador, but at the same time, I pre-arranged my transport because my flight was arriving later at night, so I just wanted to make sure I get to my hotel safely, because at that time I wasn't even sure how safe El Salvador is. So I ordered a transfer for $50. It's actually 30 bucks per person, but since I'm traveling solo, it was $50 for me. But as I landed, just for the fun of it, I decided to check how much Uber would be for the same trip, and it was showing me around 30 bucks. So I technically could have saved 20 bucks, but you do you. Because you never know with Uber, sometimes they will be widely available, and sometimes you can end up waiting for an hour in the airport, especially if during a busy time. So up to you. You can do Uber, you can do private transportation, or I'm sure there are ways to get to the city center on public transportation as well. Food prices. Food is very inexpensive here, especially if we are talking about local vendors selling pupusas. Famous El Salvadoran pupusas is about $1. There are, of course, nice, more expensive restaurants, and when I say more expensive, they are more expensive in El Salvadorian terms. But for example, cocktail would be like 12 bucks, a dish would be $20, but it's actually not considered expensive if you live in Chicago, and I'm sure many of you live in large cities like New York, London, many others, where 20 bucks per dish would be considered actually cheap. Visas to El Salvador. If you're coming from the US or from major European countries, you do not need a visa, which makes it super convenient. I read online that you have to pay some sort of visa fee at the airport, 10 bucks, but honestly, I did not have to pay it. So yeah, pretty easy. Just hop on a plane and you're here. Seasons in El Salvador. As in other Central America and South American countries, El Salvador has two seasons, wet season and dry season. Wet season is May through about October, and dry season is November through April. I'm here in January, and during the dry season you can see the weather. It's beautiful. It's been between 25 and 30 degrees Celsius every day. It hasn't rained at all, so I'm super happy. But with the temperature, it actually doesn't get very cold during wet season either, so the temperature doesn't drop. It stays pretty much the same. The only thing that changes is you get more rains, but usually those rains, you'll have them during the night, so you can still enjoy plenty of activities during the day. The only thing maybe I would recommend to you is do not do trails right after the rain, because some of those trails can be a little bit treacherous, especially if you're not an experienced hiker, because some of them were a little bit difficult even for me during the dry season. So I certainly would not do a hike, for example, to Tamanic waterfalls during the wet season when it has just stopped raining and you have to enjoy the mud under your feet and slip all around, just, you know, fearing for your life. I wouldn't recommend that, but there are plenty of activities still to do here, whether it's wet or dry season. You can do Ruta de las Flores, you can explore San Salvador, you can come here to Tunco and enjoy surfing if you're into that. There are so many things that you can make yourself busy with, no matter what time of the year it is. Activities in El Salvador, and I'm only going to talk about my experience. If there is something that I don't mention but you're interested in and curious if El Salvador has those, please do your additional research. I I've only spent 5 days in Salvador, but that's the beauty of visiting this country because it's a small country. So in a short amount of time, you can do so much and see so much, and get so many emotions, memories. So certainly can recommend that. I stayed for 3 days in San Salvador, which is the capital, and I would certainly recommend to spend at least one day there just to check out how the city has been developing over the last several years with new um, all kinds of buildings, hospitals, theaters being built, with restaurants opening. It's becoming a very, very beautiful city. I visited El Boquerón National Park there in El Salvador, which I took an Uber there. Only was like $6, and that national park is located on top of San Salvador volcano. It's not active, but the cool part about it that you can go up top and see the crater of the volcano. You can stand on a glass floor, kind of glass bridge, and look at the beautiful view of San Salvador, of the crater. It's really, I would certainly say that it's worth it because it's a very easy and short activity that you can do. It took me maybe like 1 hour to explore that. Also, I did Puerto del Diablo, which is another interesting area in San Salvador. It's more of a viewing point. It's like two rocks with a space in between, kind of like a portal or door. And there are beautiful, beautiful views from that area as well. And it also will take you no more than 1 hour to explore that area. And once again, you can get there by taking an Uber or chicken bus if that's what you would prefer. Additionally, you can do and I would recommend for you to do a walking tour. There are free walking tours available in San Salvador, and I recommend Dave, who was my tour guide. He was very enthusiastic, very much proud, telling us about his country. And so yeah, he took us around. He told us a lot about the history, about the past, present, future for Salvador. So certainly recommend that. And as I said, it's a free walking tour, but of course be sure to tip Dave or whoever other guide you are going to choose. The next thing I did, a must-do thing in El Salvador, is a hike to Santa Ana Volcano, which is absolutely beautiful. And actually, El Salvador is called the land of volcanoes. There are 242 volcanoes in the country, 36 of them are active, and Santa Ana is the tallest volcano, and it's actually active still. The last eruption was in 2005, though, and they are monitoring the activity closely, so you'll be safe doing that hike. The beauty of the volcano is not just the hike itself. I would call the hike itself, it's not light, it's more on a moderate side, and you half of the way you would be walking in kind of under the burning sun, and the hike up probably would be around 2.5 hours. But the beauty of it is the view on top of the volcano. This volcano has a crater lake. It's beautiful. It's one of the most gorgeous views I've ever seen. It's this turquoise water in the crater, and you just standing on top of El Salvador with this beautiful view. Yeah, that experience was totally worth it, and that hike was totally worth it. So if your health allows you, please be sure you do that hike. The next thing I did is Ruta de las Flores, which is a route with I believe 5 or 6 towns along the way that are really interesting, with local vendors, nice colonial architecture, and lots of flowers. I stopped by at the town of Ataco, and while there's not too much to do in the town of Ataco, but it's very charming, and it's known for its coffee. So a must do in Ataco, have a cup of coffee. And finally, well, it's not finally, but finally from the area where I stayed at first, be sure to visit Santa Teresa Termales. That is the largest thermales hot springs resort in Central America. And while they're still improving and adding enhancements to the area, it's beautiful. There are so many thermal pools with different temperature water, and there's a cafe. You can have a lunch or cocktail there, and the entrance is very inexpensive. I'm not sure, it's $5 or maybe $10. I actually had that as a part of the tour, so it was included, but you can just pay the fee and stay there as long as you want, relax, enjoy the views. It's totally worth it. Gosh, I broke my trip with this. I mean, I made this thermales stop in the middle of the trip, and yeah, after all the hiking, after all of running around, I think that all of us need a day like that, just relaxing at the thermales. Finally, I came to El Tunco. El Tunco is known for its surfing. It's a surf city, but there are plenty of things to do here as well, because you can just enjoy your beach time. You can ride a horse. You can enjoy the local vibe and eat pupusas. And very close to here, there are Tamanic waterfalls that uh, you can swim in, you can jump into. I did that hike yesterday. While it was not the easiest hike of my life, it was once again very much worth it. And it's very easy to get there if you're staying in El Tunco. And I'll tell you how, because I didn't know that very well, since there was not too much information available online. But I'll tell you how. So if you're staying in El Tunco area, or El Sunsal, you need to go to Tamanic. It's a little town, probably 30 minutes away from here. And there you need to hire a local guide, and he will take you to Tamanic waterfalls, because you cannot go there on your own. How to do that? You don't need to sign up in advance, don't do anything. When you're ready to go, I would recommend to do it in the morning. Just make sure that you put on your hiking shoes. You need to have comfortable shoes, your hat, glasses, because you will be walking under the sun, and go to Tamanic by using an Uber, about $6 ride or $5 ride, or a chicken bus. I did both. I tried a chicken bus and an Uber. Once again, Uber is only 50 cents. You get to Tamanic. Please be sure to check out my short as to basically how to find yourself around in Tamanic. It's a very small town, but if you do not know where you're going, you will be walking around looking for the tourist office. But I have a short where I explain exactly where to go, so check that out. Then you go to the guide. There are several guides available. Just say, I want to go to the falls. They usually try to collect a group of several people, 2 to 5, and they will take you there. I don't think that you will be waiting at all. I thought that I needed to sign up in advance. That's why I came there one day in advance, but I didn't need to do that. Uh, what else I did? I just enjoyed plenty of beach time, horseback riding, just catching the waves, walking around, and enjoying just this view sitting on my balcony. Um, so there are many things that other travelers that I've met have been doing. There's a cute and very charming town of Suchito that several of my fellow travelers wanted to check out. There are, yeah, I'm sure that you will find an activity for you in El Salvador. And if not, then just come here and relax. It's a pretty easy trip, and it's a very enjoyable time. Safety in El Salvador. I think this is number one question and number one thing that most travelers are interested in. Did I feel safe when coming to El Salvador? And I will tell you this. As a solo female traveler, I've never felt safer anywhere in the world, in any country I've traveled to, than here in El Salvador. I walked in the middle of the night from my area where my hotel is at to El Tunco. I stay about 20-minute walk away, just on the highway, which is the main street here, the main road here. And I felt totally, totally safe. Nobody's honking at you, nobody's yelling at you. You just walking and minding your own business. The same in San Salvador, you can go to the park in the middle of the night just to collect your thoughts, maybe get fresh air, and just go back home, and you come home safe and alive, which is very important. I remember I took a walking tour and it ended late, so I had to wait for an Uber. I was just sitting for 10 minutes in the city center. Well, there were not even that many people around that time, but I felt absolutely safe. There was not a single grain of anxiety in me, and a lot of times that's not the case when you feel the stares, when people pass by and say something. So I definitely have felt that before in other countries I visited, but I've never felt that in El Salvador. And also in San Salvador, they even have in the one of the main squares, they have this new library that is one of the biggest attractions in El Salvador that Nayib Bukele, the president, built, and that library is open 24/7. So you can just come and spend some time there and go back home at 3 o'clock in the morning, and nothing will happen to you. And as one of the locals told me, that if something happens to you, like your phone gets stolen, your purse, I do not know, somebody tries to do something bad, that offender will be caught in no time. They will send the whole army, police, just to make sure that this happens. As Nayib Bukele said, 3 Doritos later, you will see that offender on the news, probably still wearing the same clothes as he was wearing when stealing your purse or your phone. So if feel safe as a solo female traveler, if if you're traveling in groups, family, with friends, that should certainly not be a concern for you. So El Salvador is safe for everybody, solo travelers, young people, because I met people from Europe as young as 20, 21 years old who are exploring the world, and each of us felt totally and completely safe. Health in El Salvador. You don't need to get any vaccinations before coming here, which is very convenient. Malaria is not a big concern with insects, maybe in rural areas, so a little bit distant areas, you might want to put bug spray, but as opposed to some other countries that I visited, for example, Peru, you should not be very much concerned about insect bites. But also, healthcare in El Salvador is actually free, not only for El Salvadorian citizens, but for tourists as well. So if something, God forbid, happens to you, you sprain your ankle, or you're having food poisoning, you can just go and get checked out by a local doctor for free, which is quite crazy, right? Especially for those of us who live in the United States. Finally, a few more interesting facts about El Salvador. As I already mentioned, El Salvador is known as the land of volcanoes. There are 36 active volcanoes here. Also, El Salvador is a valley of hammocks. Why? Because there are earthquakes here. There are earthquakes pretty much every day, but they're small and you don't feel them. There haven't been any major earthquakes, so please don't be scared of that. Food in El Salvador. Well, El Salvadorian cuisine is not something necessarily that everybody keeps on talking about, but as you come here, you will see there are so many great dishes here. Of course, you have to try pupusas. I've been eating pupusas every single day. It's a corn tortilla stuffed with cheese, beans, other things. It's super, super delicious. Other things like carne asado, quesadillas, empanadas. Quesadillas and empanadas are actually different from what we are used to. Those are more of desserts, sweet dishes here. They have this shaved ice called raspados, and they can find it, especially here on the beach. You can get it with different flavors. You can even get it spicy with some chili powder on top. In terms of drinks, horchata de morro is something that is traditional Salvadorian, which is drink made from grains, and it's like creamy, very interesting peanutty flavor. They have this drink that's called atole de elote, which is a corn drink, very interesting. Actually, I haven't tried, but one of my friends did, and he said that it was very, very good. So there's plenty of American food as well. So if you like your pizzas and hamburgers, plenty of places offering those. And I think just in general, Salvadorans really, really like Italian cuisine, because in San Salvador, I saw tons of Italian restaurants. So if you're into pasta, El Salvador might be a place to be for you as well. Also, El Salvador is known for its coffee, so be sure to have local coffee. They will make it for you any way you like. For example, when I was in the city of Ataco, I don't like my coffee very strong. I just asked the bartender to make it specific how I wanted it, and he made the best coffee ever. So certainly a thing that you must do here, try local coffee. So now I think it's time to conclude my video. Thank you so much for being with me. I hope you do give El Salvador a chance, because it's such a beautiful country. It truly deserves it, and you should come now. It is not very touristy yet, but it's going to become more and more touristy. So go to any of the travel websites that you normally use, Expedia, Skyscanner, whatever, and check out flights to El Salvador. You will not live disappointed, I guarantee. Thank you so much once again for being with me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.